Ever since, thank you Discovery Channel for all of the not so real world Alaska series. Everybody wants to see it. Life Below Zero, Deadliest Catch. They just, let's go check it out.
Oh, a car on the road. Wow.
First one. So my name's Brad Randall. We're in Healy, Alaska at Healy Heights Family Cabins. And my wife and I decided to start this adventure. It's our 7th summer we've been up here. From southern Utah, southeast corner of Utah, little small town, Monticello.
Is that where you were born and raised? Or
Yep, I born and raised there. Started in the family business. So Napa Automotive Parts Stores. Been working there for almost 15 years, but owning 3 stores for 6 or 7 years, we said, you know, this is real and fun, but not real fun. Always had a dream to own a bed and breakfast, and we searched all over the Pacific Northwest. I mean, we take family vacations to Oregon coast, Washington coast, the islands off of Seattle, and never found the one. My wife has a brother who lives just up the road. He was building his home at the time in 2013. But when I came up here, the gentleman that owned this, it wasn't for sale at the time. And I knocked on his door and said, hey, you ever thought of selling? He looked at me and said, who told you? I said, well, nobody, but I think you got a pretty awesome spot. At the time, there was 2 feet of snow on the ground everywhere. And so he showed me all the cabins. He said, it's yours if you want it. So I went home and told my wife about it, and it took us a little while. It took us till September. And she came up in September.
Because when were you here?
I was here in April.
Okay.
And so we took the summer to talk about it and different things.
Was she like, where?
No, she was all for it. So this in the wintertime, this cabin's my favorite cabin because of the aurora. Nice. The northern lights. They are right there, straight north, and you can sit on right here on the deck for hours and just take all the pictures of the aurora you want. And there's no guests.
I was going to say, and you have time.
I have time. Yeah, there's no guests. We're only open mid-May to mid-September.
And do you make enough money? Because I've wondered, I was just in town, and, you know, you're talking restaurants and hotels and, you know, the whole thing. And it all shuts down in the winter.
Boards up like a ghost town. Well, I still have one of my Napa stores in the lower 48. My wife works at the coal mine here. She does HR and accounting for them.
Oh, okay.
And then 20 years ago, I volunteered at the fire department in Utah. And since that time, I've become more and more involved. I'm currently the fire chief here and an EMT 3 in the state of Alaska and going to paramedic school so I can get my paramedic license. So,
geez, so this is just a part-time thing, it sounds like.
This is a part-time deal. This is something that, of all the businesses I've ever owned, this is by far the easiest. When you own a parts store, when somebody comes into the parts store, they have to spend money they didn't budget. Their car broke down, and it's a bad day.
As opposed to this.
This is a vacation spot that it's a bucket list for so many people. And they love it. They enjoy it. It's so much fun to meet the people, interact with them, get to know them and their stories.
Well, and so you get all these tourists. Have you noticed the pattern over the 7 years of, oh yeah, we get a lot of people from California, or we don't get anyone from Texas, or we get a lot of this group or that group, or I don't know. Have you noticed
worldwide? You know, we've had Finland, Brazil, Australia, Norway, Sweden, Norway, England, yeah, just all over.
How do they find you? Airbnb?
Well, we're on Booking.com and then our own website.
That's it.
That's
find
it.
You.
Let's go check out the Willow.
Okay.
As far as interior views, I like the Willow.
So this property was all built up just like this. Is there a lot of maintenance? Is there a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, we do maintenance. We have added one cabin to the... So this is the Willow cabin. And then the view out here. Just to the south, towards the park entrance. When we moved in, the only thing we've done, bedding, paint, some flooring in some of the cabins. But we came in and was painting. I was actually painting the cabin you're staying in, the Windward cabin. And it was January. And I left the heat on. So I left the heat on, and it was about 20 below outside. I thought, I gotta go to work. I went out there and I started painting, and I was painting the kitchen, so it only had 6 feet or so. And I started over here and I painted, and I went all the way over there. I was looking at it, it's like, this looks dry. I put my hand on it. There was nothing there. It was dry. And I got thinking about it, it's like, there ain't no way it's dry. So I put my hand on there again, and it was ice cold. The paint froze on the wall. It didn't dry. It froze.
I mean, has it been a real difficult adjustment? Like, what's life like here in such a small place in the middle of Alaska?
The first winter here, well, the first summer here. So there is a grocery store here in town. Now, it's only 2.5. It'll be 2 years old in December. Prior to that, if we wanted a gallon of milk and didn't want to pay $9, we had to drive to Fairbanks. Well, it's 110 miles to Fairbanks.
Where do you get $9 gallons of milk?
Well, you had to go to a convenience store.
Okay.
Because that's all we had. Because there was no grocery store. So you'd go to the convenience store, you pay $9 for a gallon of milk. And so what you do in the whole goal, particularly because in the summertime everybody's going, there's stuff happening. But in the wintertime, the goal was to see how few trips to town you could make. Town being Fairbanks. I think the longest stretch we ever reached was 6 weeks with not having to go to town. But you'd take all your coolers, take everything you had, you'd drive to Fairbanks, you'd hit Sam's Club at the time, and you'd buy 13 gallons of milk. Freeze them. It's, 20 below. You just set it on the cooler, set it out on the deck out back. There it sat. The UV light didn't affect it because the sun was so low on the horizon. I mean, you didn't see the ball of the sun here. In the wintertime, we go, of course, solstice on December 22nd. Usually about the 1st of October till the end of January, we don't see the ball of the sun.
Yeah, we got a beautiful sun right behind you now.
Yeah. Sun's out.
And it's out late, of course, in the summer here.
Yeah, summertime's late. Wintertime, for me, this is, when I first moved up here, this still is staycation. I'm on vacation 365 days a year.
That's how it still feels to you?
It still feels that way.
And it's been how many years?
7 years.
So that may not go away.
No, it doesn't go away. Hope not. Alaska is a state, is a region, particularly here interior, that very few people who were born and raised here are still here. Most of them are transplants, and most of them, by the time they hit retirement age, are looking for somewhere else to go.
I don't know if that means, I don't know if that's a good thing about, I don't know if that's an endorsement of Alaska or not, because it's saying people all come here. Like, it makes it sound like, but then it also says that everyone leaves here who are born here.
Alaska, because of the economy and the jobs, pay very well. And so a lot of people will come up here, get one of those high-paying jobs, work it for their high 3 years for their retirement, for their Social Security, and then, hey, I've had enough of harsh winters for whatever reason. And harsh winters, not just the weather. There's so many people that the darkness is really, really hard on. Mm-hmm. In the wintertime, being the fire chief and that, I teach a lot of EMS. And so because the cabins are shut down, I travel to villages. Literally, villages, fly in, small plane, seats 11 people.
Are these the mostly Native Alaskan villages?
Yeah.
North of Fairbanks or west?
Yeah, everything north of Fairbanks. And I'll fly up for a week, spend a week, and then fly back.
Doing what?
Teaching EMS, basic life-saving, similar to what would be a first responder course.
Okay.
So,
do you feel, though, do you feel as American as you had before? Even though you're disconnected from the lower 48?
Yeah, I mean, you get lots of questions. I mean, we've had guests that just, I mean, they have landed at the airport and they're traveling here and they're going to get on a cruise ship home, and questions like, "No, do they take the U.S. dollar here?" Yep. Do we don't have to have the loonies and toonies? No, you're not in Canada. So,
But I mean, in spirit, like, do you
oh yeah, I
feel?
mean, I still feel like just much of, true blue USA and an American citizen than as if I was down there. I mean, it is a different, like when you watch your friends on Facebook or somewhere and they're posting on the 4th of July the fireworks show. We don't do fireworks on the 4th of July. You don't see them. It's daylight. They wait till New Year's, and then amazing fireworks shows for
Yeah,
New Year's.
yeah.
So it just, yeah, some
Do you feel left out?
no.
Do you participate in? Were you ever one to talk politics before?
I was. I served 8 years on city council prior to coming up here.
In
Monticello,
Utah.
Yep.
So you have political affiliations, beliefs,
Oh yeah.
opinions. Um, have those changed in any way, maybe, or lessened, or anything? Have they changed at all?
Nothing's changed. I mean, maybe strengthened, but
Strengthened.
maybe more just a sense of and being here and realizing that I gotta take care of myself and my family,
Mm-hmm.
and so strengthened in that regard. That I need to make sure that I can provide and take care of them, regardless of the outcome or political stance or what's happening in the world or things like that. It's just, hey, we still leave every winter. We'll leave. Usually, family. We make a goal to take a family trip every Christmas. Um, Last year we were in Florida seeing my sister and enjoyed 2 weeks out of Alaska. Go back to Utah to see my family, to see my wife's family. Yeah, California, just travel. We've always wanted to tell our kids, get experience the world. So
When you're out for a couple of weeks, are you then eager to get back?
I am very eager.
Oh yeah.
My kids sometimes not so much. Um, Definitely those older ones that are
Yeah. Do they feel
missing,
isolated? Do they feel cut
not
off?
necessarily isolated and cut off. It's like, man, I miss some of their core friends they had prior to moving up here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it's typical with anybody that moves from one place to another.
Have they made friends and had created their own lives
Yeah,
here, even though the school's so small?
yeah, and being as small as it is, you jump right in the middle of it. My life is my kids, and so we still every winter. Um, my youngest son loves hockey, and so we will travel the state for hockey, for basketball. I mean, the first winter we were here, my oldest son was in 8th grade, and the school says we need some chaperones. We're taking the kids to Valdez. It's a 12-hour drive from here. I said, what? We're taking the middle school basketball teams, boys and girls, to Valdez for a 4-day tournament. So I'm breathing air is all I'm doing. Loaded up and went with him to Valdez for 4 days.
He was on the team.
He's on the team.
Um,
So that's, I mean, to me, socially, that's what it is. And so associate with the parents and of the other kids, things like that. That's
so even though they're not just up the street because everyone lives miles away from one another, there's still a community around the school.
around the school. I mean, last night and today was a 3-on-3 volleyball tournament to raise a fundraiser for the volleyball team.
And I guess from this view,
So-
you can see other homes.
Yeah, there's
So sprinkled in here, there are people that live.
Yeah.
And there are enough. You said there was 1,900 people in the borough, which is
In the
another
borough.
word for county.
Yep.
So that is such a, and I'm guessing it's a large county because
Huge.
we're in Alaska.
Huge.
So it sounds like you would even have trouble supporting a school, but that's not the case. There are plenty
There
of kids.
are 3 schools in our borough.
Okay.
So the school here is grade K through 12, and there's about 140 kids total in the school. They do a band, and they will combine. We have a music teacher that travels to the borough, and then her husband's a music teacher in the school an hour north,
Okay.
and so they'll actually do a combined concert with a spring concert. They do a choir. They do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
No drama club, but they have some awesome community events, Kids in Motion, things like that. We used to have a really good ballet program, but the ballet teachers since moved out. But
Ballet.
yeah, yeah. My
In
daughters
rural Alaska.
did ballet for
Oh,
3 years.
that might be the most surprising thing of this video. What about, are you a churchgoer?
I am, yes.
And what's that like around here?
My family weren't members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Small branch here. I'm actually the branch president.
I'm not surprised to
Here.
hear that.
But yeah, very active up here, and churches in general. I work with the troopers a lot as a fire chief, and talking to them, they says Healy could not be a better place. And the thing about it is you got lots of jobs, and you got people going to church.
Lots of jobs. How can
Lots
that
of
be?
jobs, tons of jobs. I mean, there's not every one of these places in town are looking for people to come and go to work.
What places?
I mean, from the grocery store to there's a coal-fired power plant here. There's a coal mine here.
Okay.
They're just like, man, even the school.
So if someone can make it up here, they'd have work.
Yeah.
And it'd be okay pay.
Yeah.
If they're qualified.
If they're qualified.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are there rural communities sometimes struggle more with alcoholism, poverty? I mean, do you see those kinds of things around here? Substance abuse,
I would say it's
domestic
growing.
abuse.
This year particularly, it's growing, but in the past, no. And a lot of it has been with maybe Healy's this anomaly that they don't have it, but we've got the Park Service to the south that pays very well. We got the coal mine that pays very well, and the power plant. So we don't have the poverty. It is still here, but not the homelessness, not the what I would say. Oh, look at the lower 48 type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not here. Now, if you go to Fairbanks, they have it.
Yeah.
Anchorage, they have it.
Yeah. The more someone describes life here, the more it begins to paint a picture of normalcy. Just different.
It's
But
different.
you've got all the elements of a good life.
You got all the elements of a good life. The thing that is missing is the busy. Life here rotates literally half speed, quarter speed. You don't have the I have to be here, I have to be here, I have to be here because I got to pick up this and I got to pick up that. You go back to what becomes important. What do we have to have? Not really subsistence, but more of just the necessities of life, and all of the busy goes away. It's just not there.
And that's
I
I'm
love it.
assuming that's a good
I
thing.
love it. I love that I don't have this mad rush of be here, be there, go do this and that. You know, and that's what it was. I mean, 3 Napa stores, go put this fire out, go put that fire out, come back here and there.
Yeah.
It's not there. So for us, this has been the best part. And you get to come up here and you don't have that white noise that life can just tend to generate. So the plants are just always absorbing water, going through water. And then the pH being well water, it was a little on the base side, so I got some acid to it.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, crap, I'll just use rainwater. Right here's my shed, and I got a downspout. I just collect all the rainwater I can.